everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a goals discussion video. I'm going to do this by talking through what worked for this year, for 2022, and what my goals are going to be for 2023. So I have four main areas of bookish goals that I want to talk with you about today. First up, I'll do reading, then channel goals, writing, and then my Lust to Read book club that I run with Ellie and Lana. So first of all is my Goodreads goal. Last year I set that at 80. That's the benchmark I've set it at for the last couple of years. It's working really well. I have currently read 85 books. I anticipate probably getting up to 90 by the end of the year, potentially, but I would like to keep it at 80. 80 is a doable amount for me, so I don't want to feel stressed about my Goodreads goal. So I'm going to keep it at 80 because I've achieved that for the last couple of years, and yeah, why not continue when things are working? The next thing that I want to talk to you about is my diversity in my reading goals. And for that, I need to get out this whiteboard. So this is a game that I've been playing throughout this year, 2022. This is kind of how I've been keeping track of my goals for reading diversely. So when I say reading diversely, I definitely mean reading books by BIPOC authors, reading books that feature LGBTQIA+ rep, a variety of different other things that I think it's important to read and to get literature and ideas about and from. I also did mean the way that I consume books, so trying to broaden my horizon and read a few more graphic novels and comics, read books written in verse or reading poetry, listening to audiobooks and all of that sort of thing. So I'm going to reposition you a little bit and I'm going to put this here. And we're going to go through what is on here that I've been doing this year, and then we'll go through and make some changes if I feel that that's necessary. Okay, so how it works is that over here in the smiley face column, I have all the different things that I want to try and think about when I'm reading. And then over here in the unhappy face column, these are the two things that I have to do every single month, or else I'll be upset with myself. When I meet one of these criteria, I give myself one line under the smiley face. Every time I get 3 lines in one of these rows, then I get to put a magnet down here. Once this space is filled with magnets, then I get to pull a prize out of this little prize box. There are all sorts of different things, including book buying sprees, but also a bunch of different things in there as well that I can have as a prize. It took me up until October to fill this with magnets, so I'm going to try and see if I can do a bit better in 2023. The unhappy face, however, we have BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, or person of colour author. And then we have LGBTQIA+, and the book needs to represent LGBTQIA+ issues, ideas, thoughts, culture, etc. in some way. So every single month I have to read at least one book by a BIPOC author, and I have to read at least one book that features LGBTQIA+ rep. Now, they can be the same book, but I must have at least one book for each category. If I don't, then that month gets a line under its little thing, and that means I have to take a magnet off. Now, that didn't happen at all this year, 2022, so fingers crossed it won't happen again next year. But I do think that one for each, particularly given that I am allowing it to be the same book, is the bare minimum of what I should be able to do. So that's going to stay the same, which means those two are going to stay the same. But now it's on to the rest, and I want to see whether I actually followed it, whether I thought it was worthwhile, if I want to continue, or if I'm going to change it. Like I said, BIPOC stays, LGBTQIA+ stays, neurodiverse. So I think that should stay. I think that it is important to read from neurodiverse points of view and from neurodiverse own voice authors in particular. So I'm going to keep neurodiverse. Health. Now I just wrote health there, but it was physical and mental health. So I'm talking about people who have a physical disability, people who live with mental health conditions, so books that feature characters that live with any number of different physical or mental health things that affect their lives. I'm going to keep that one as well. I think that's also an important viewpoint to read from. Next up we have Australian Aboriginal, so that's Australian Aboriginal author, and I'm going to keep that as well. I think in addition to reading BIPOC, I think reading from BIPOC authors is incredibly important, but I think that given that I'm Australian and given that we have a First Nations people who were here before the white people and our relationships with that people have been terrible in Australia, so I think that it's really important to read from that point of view as well, and so for that reason I'm going to keep that also. Translated I'm going to keep as well. I don't think I did very well with that one this year, but I'm going to keep it anyway. I should just say that, like I said, these two, the first two, are the only ones that correlate to over here. The rest I get points for, but I don't lose magnets if I don't have them. Let me know if you think I should add any to over here that need to be always included every month. So translated I'm going to keep. I think it's really important that I read from non-Western cultures and non-English speaking backgrounds, so that should be there as well. Then we had comic and graphic novel. I definitely feel like I'm branching out and reading a lot more comics and graphic novels, and I would like to continue branching out and reading some more. So I think I will keep it. Audiobook I'm going to take off. Not to say that I don't think that it's worthwhile and valid to listen to audiobooks. That is a perfectly fantastic way to consume books. I just feel like I've discovered the way that I prefer audiobooks, and it has to be more contemporary or romance, and that's what I prefer to listen to with audiobooks, which means that I'm going to mostly pick those. I'm not necessarily always going to feel like doing an audiobook. I also tend to only want to listen to one audiobook at once, although I'll read several physical books at the same time. So I'm going to take audiobook off for giving myself points and earning rewards for that. I just don't think that it's really that important. I've kind of figured out where I stand with those. Not sure what to put in there. We'll come back to that in a minute. Short story and verse. I'm going to keep. I did really badly with that one this year, but I would like to try reading more short stories in particular, I think, but also I'd like to get a bit more into poetry. So in fact, what I might do is I might put poetry / verse up there. I'll probably have to come through and fix that. It looks a bit dodgy, but for now it'll be okay. And then keep short story there. All right. Then we have out of comfort zone. I'm going to remove that as well. For the most part, I read pretty widely. I don't read a lot of horror, but I'm not against exploring into that. And although it's out of my comfort zone, I don't feel like I read enough of it to warrant it. And it's not an area that I feel like I need to try and read more of. So I'm going to take out of my comfort zone there, simply because I feel like a lot of things are actually in my comfort zone. Buzzword. So this is referring to the year-long challenge that Kayla from Books and Lala runs, where she thinks up words for each month and you have to read a book that has that word in the title or that features something along those lines in the title. And I just didn't do it this year, and I just didn't really care, to be honest, so I'm going to take that away. Not to say that it isn't a fun challenge, I just am not going to make it something that I want to keep track of and give myself points for. And then finish my TBR. I'm going to remove that as well because I have changed my TBR game, and part of the TBR game now includes gaining rewards for reading the TBR in the game, so I'm not going to have it here. So it just feels like not something that is worthwhile. Okay, so I'm actually going to put a section for ARC because I joined NetGalley this just recently, and I want to keep track of my ARC so I don't get overwhelmed by it. And then I'm also going to add not set in the global west. I'm going to have to go through, I think, and fix this all up, but I'll do that off camera. So by that I mean not set in North America, Canada, England, or West Europe or Australia, because I think that even when I'm reading books by BIPOC authors, I'm reading a lot of books by people who live in America and so on. So I want to try and broaden my horizons as far as that goes and read more books from South America, read more books from the Caribbean, and more books from Asia and Southeast Asia and different places like that. So the new things in the game this year for 2023 will be, well, when I say new, some of them are new, most of them are the same. BIPOC, so one author each month has to be a Black, Indigenous or person of colour author. One book each month has to feature LGBTQIA+ rep. That's what has to happen. Then we get on to, I get points when I do them. So it's encouraging me to try and do them. Neurodiverse rep. Health, so physical and mental and/or mental health rep. Australian Aboriginal author. A translated work, so translated from another language into English. A comic or graphic novel. A poem, book of poetry or written in verse. Short story. And then the new ones, we just have ARC, so advanced reader copy, and that will mostly be through NetGalley, and not set in the global west, so outside of those Western countries, so Australia, New Zealand, North America, West Europe, and the UK. Yeah, so that's the game and the diversity of reading. Let's just reposition you again. So that is the kind of most important part of my reading goals, is to diversify, and we've just discussed how that's going to work. So the next thing that I want to continue doing, that I started probably about halfway through this year, 2022, and have really been enjoying, is themed vlogs. So at the moment I'm working on 2 themed vlogs. They have not gone up yet. I'm still working on them, like I just said. So they'll go up sometime early next year, hopefully. So some other ideas that I have is to read popular fantasy romance, read some new to me authors, a vlog where I give some authors a second try, potentially other themed vlogs as well. So please let me know some ideas if you have any particular books you'd like to see me read that either fit in there, or like I said, different themes that you think would work, that I might enjoy, that you didn't enjoy from me. Please let me know all that down below. And then the final goal for reading is sort of co-reading. In the goals video that covered 2021 and 2022, I talked about buddy reading and about readathons and different ways of joining in the community and reading, co-reading, or having different reading challenges and things like that. So I'd like to continue doing those things in 2023. I have really enjoyed buddy reading. I really enjoyed being part of various book clubs, including my own, and enjoyed being part of different readathons. Every single month, as you guys know, there are numerous readathons that you can take part in. I will not be taking part in every single readathon that is ever created, because that's just going to be way too much to commit to and be way too overwhelming. But there are readathons that I have taken part in the past that I really enjoyed. There's a few that I know that are coming up that haven't happened yet that I'm looking forward to. I do have 2 readathons that I run, that I created, that I run every year. So one of those is the Hemisphere Christmas Games, which when you're seeing this video is happening at the time, and that happens every single year, and it's a readathon where we pit the North and the South hemispheres against each other, and we try and beat each other by reading books. And then I also ran last year my Roll of Reads TBR game as a readathon. I have changed TBR games, so I still want to run a readathon around my TBR game, but the new one is quite more different and a bit more involved. So comment below and let me know which one you'd prefer, whether you'd prefer Roll of Reads or whether you'd prefer TBR Campaign. I'm going to link the playlist for both of those down below, so you can go and check out both of those if you're not familiar with them. And if you're interested in a readathon that is based around a TBR game, then you can let me know which one you prefer and we'll see what happens there. So I enjoy running readathons, I enjoy being part of readathons, so I'll definitely continue doing both of those things. I also have really enjoyed being part of various different book clubs. I have to apologise to a number of different book clubs though, because the only one that I'm very good at committing to is my own, and that is the Last to Read book club. I have this year joined a few different Patreons, so there are some Patreon buddy reads and book clubs that I'm potentially interested in going into. I'm doing a read along currently, and it will continue into January, of the Graceling series by Kristen Cashaw, so that's obviously going to continue. I'm interested potentially in doing more read alongs, running more read alongs, so if you have any read along idea that you think I might be a good fit for as a co-host, please let me know as well. Nothing's currently come to mind as something I'd like to read that I want to run with anyone, but potentially I may come up with something next year, so I'm keen to do that as well. So those are all my reading goals. Now I want to talk to you about my channel goals. Last year, one of the things that I talked about in this video like this for 2021 and 2022 was the fact that I wanted to try not to focus on my numbers, not to focus too much on how many people were watching, what my subscriber count was, because I did find it really, really stressful. I was okay with that for the first half of the year, and then I got really bad at it because I got quite close to 1,000 subscribers, and it was just incredibly exciting. Basically, when I hit 900, I immediately was obsessed with getting to 1,000. I have now hit 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed, everyone that comments, just everyone for being involved and getting me to this arbitrarily very important milestone that I know is arbitrary, and yet I'm still completely obsessed with. That's for another day. So until now, I've tried not to put a subscriber count as a goal because I didn't want it to become an obsession and to make me anxious. But given that I hit 1,000 subscribers this year, they say the first 1,000 is the hardest. I feel like it would be within the realm of possibility for me to hit 2,000 by the end of 2023. I'm not counting on it. It could happen, it might not. I have no idea. But I'm just putting it out there that, 2,000 by the end of the year would be amazing. In terms of subscribers, watch hours, views, all of the things that YouTube looks at in their analytics, all of the things that YouTube says are important that we should care about, there are two things that I really want to talk about. First of all is that despite my best efforts, I do care about it, but I do live with generalized anxiety, and I don't want YouTube, which is my hobby that I enjoy, to become part of that anxiety. So I'm always looking for ways to improve my channel, to make it better and more interesting, partly because that way I'll gain more views and subscribers and all the things you're supposed to want to gain, but also because hopefully it will make those people who do engage, watch, come back, subscribe, etc. It'll make you guys more interested, it'll make it more enjoyable for you. I just like to explore things, change things, do things differently, see how it works. I like to change things up, and things that work I'll definitely do, but at the same time it's fun to change and try new things. So you may have noticed that this last couple of weeks, the videos I've started putting up, instead of having the longer intro where I'd say, welcome to my channel, my name's Mel, thank you for joining me today, blah, 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 and had the musical intro, what I've done instead is I've just had a very small intro that I say, so just me saying what I said at the beginning here, and then a little bit of information about what the video is going to be about, or even starting the video, and then a much smaller little intro sequence that has just a sound effect. The reason I did that is because I did see a few different videos pop up that were talking about how to gain subscribers, how to get noticed by YouTube, how to get pushed onto the home screen, how to be a part of a found in search and all that sort of stuff. Mostly they seem to be suggesting that that was kind of an older thing that was what what you were encouraged to do 3 years ago, but now they're saying it's not necessarily the focus of YouTube anymore, and that in fact it's kind of a waste of time to do that big intro because people are more likely not to watch. They're going to click off and away if it's that big elongated intro. So I just thought that I'd do an experiment and see whether or not I noticed any significant difference in the drop-off point if I shortened that intro and got gave a little bit more information maybe about what the video was going to entail, and then kind of got into the video a bit more quickly. I haven't noticed a particular difference so far. I've only started doing it in the last probably, I think, 2 or 3 videos that have gone up as of today. So I haven't really noticed a particular difference, but I'll keep going for a little while for the experiment. But please let me know down below which you prefer, which one you think is more interesting, which one you think might be better for new people coming in. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. I am not sold one way or the other at the moment. I'll just see how I feel, see what the data tells me. But yeah, that's what I've been doing that one for. Okay, so talking about my channel and what sort of content I'm going to create. I already talked about the reading vlogs, the themed reading vlogs that I'm going to be continuing into the new year. In terms of regular videos, I had quite a number of videos that I was trying to produce on a regular basis, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, or what have you. I have so many different ideas. People tag you in things. Tags come up that you really want to get involved in, different challenges, just, you know, different things coming up that I just found that I wasn't doing those regular videos every single month or every single quarter or whatever it was that I said that I was going to do, with the exception of my TBR, my wrap-up, my monthly wrap-up, and the game that we just talked about. Those 3 are the monthly staples that I do every single month. They will continue to be done every single month. Now, I was going to do a kids book of the month once every 2 months, but I'm just going to do that whenever I feel like doing it. It's still something that I like to do, but it's not particularly well loved by a huge amount of people. They don't get very many views. I'm kind of running low on what I want to talk about, but I do still like to do them. So it might be I go back to a kids book of the quarter. Maybe I'll just do a kids book just every now and then. It'll just be called kids books, or I don't know. But I would like to continue doing that. It just won't be a regular thing. Same with the BookTuber shoutouts. That's another video I enjoy filming, but maybe not as frequently as I was trying to film them, and plus I just end up not quite finding the time. Also, when I do tags or other kinds of videos where I'm required, part of the video is to talk about other YouTubers, I do feel like I do shoutouts then as well. And whenever I talk about readathons that I'm doing or readalongs, I do shoutouts then as well. So I don't feel like I need to have, not that we need to have any of these videos realistically, but I don't feel like I need to have the BookTuber shoutouts because I kind of do that already, but I still like to do them, so I might do them every so often as well. And then my recommending books to other BookTubers is a series that I actually want to do more frequently, although I'm not going to make any promises about when, but I really enjoy doing that. I find that it's a really great way to shout out different BookTubers, but also it means that I'm thinking more about them, and yeah, it's just more interesting to me than just a BookTuber shout out. So that's something I'd like to increase, although like I said, it won't be that I'll do it every month. I'll do it when and as I want to, but I'd like to increase it a little bit more because it is something I really, really enjoy. In the video that I did for goals for 2021 and 2022, I said that I was going to do quarterly videos about favorites, least favorites, all of that sort of thing. I didn't do that. However, there are tags that ask questions that lead you to talk about your favorite books of the quarter, your least favorite books you want to read, and so on. So I'm not sure how to approach that, whether just to do the tags, whether to do specific videos. Please comment below and let me know what you think would be interesting, how you think I should approach it, and I'll have a think about what people are saying and make a decision from there. Another question that I have is journaling videos. Let me know if you want to see more planning videos, if you want to see more flip throughs. I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to do a plan with me every single month or anything like that, but please let me know if you're interested in journal videos and what sort of videos you'd be interested in, and I'll look at how I want to approach that as well. So that's it for my channel. Now on to writing. So for writing, some of you may know, some of you may not, I do creative writing. I would love to be a published author. That would be amazing. I have a manuscript that I have basically finished, and there's a few friends who are reading it, so I'm just waiting on feedback from them. I'm not sure what's the next step. It might be query time. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm kind of at that stage. And then I have something else that I started around NaNoWriMo this year, 2022, that I really want to write. I am working on it. I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm working on it. But then I'd also like to try and get published in some journals, magazines, creative writing magazines, you know, and potentially go in some competitions as well. So I decided, like I said, that I really want to prioritize my writing this year, or next year, 2023, and I really want to make sure I put aside time and really actually do something with that, because I've always wanted to be a writer, I've always wanted to be a published author, but for various reasons I just haven't properly dedicated time and effort towards it until recently, and I want to do that properly. So I'm going to set aside 8 hours a week. I figure 8 hours a week is it's a decent amount of writing time, but it's also not too much to be overwhelming, and it means that I could do 2 hours a day for 4 days and get that done, or I could do 2 4-hour sessions and have the 8, or I could actually just sit down and write for 8 hours. So it kind of works as different ways that I might approach it. So that is the plan. It's going to go into the journal. I'm going to track it and make sure I'm trying to do that. So we'll see. It might not always be the case. I might not always make it, but that's the aim at the moment. And then finally, my last to read book club that I run with Ellie and Lana. So we already have all the books scheduled for the first half of the year, and I will put the graphic that Ellie made up on the screen so you can see what they are. Everything you need to know about the book club is down below, so if you'd like to join us for any and all of the books, then please do so. We mostly discuss on Discord and or Twitter, and we do have live shows. We have not figured out when the live shows will be, but we're going to try and figure out most, if not all, of the live shows for the first half of the year so that we can get all of that booked in and we know what's happening and everyone else knows what's happening. We actually recently opened an Etsy store. It is called Bookaburra Creations. At the moment we're selling 4 bookmarks. I have made an announcement video that is all about the 4 bookmarks, so I'll link that in the description below. I'll put an image of the beautiful bookmarks that we've made up on the screen here. So if you're interested in some cute little bookmarks, please go to the Etsy store and purchase a bookmark or some or all of the bookmarks. We absolutely so excited to have this shop and to keep that going. We're going to be making new bookmarks. We're going to be making different merch like t-shirts, mugs, all of that sort of thing. So keep an eye on the Etsy store. We'd absolutely love your ideas on what you think we should do, and your feedback, so please have a look, and we're super excited to have that. So that's my goal discussion for my 2022 goals, how they went, and my plans for 2023. I've already asked you a number of different questions and for a number of different ideas, so I'm just going to reiterate, please comment any of your thoughts on any of those things down below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me the brain exploding emoji, because I feel like my brain's exploding with all the ideas I have, so I can only imagine how you must be feeling. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. All of the YouTubers and other amazing creators, as well as my Ko-Fi for Last to Read and our Etsy store, are linked in the description below, so please go and check all of that out, subscribe to all the various people, buy some bookmarks, etc. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you next time.